Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advanced, and this game is from GCT Finals. This is the rapid section, and this game with the white pieces we have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and with the black pieces we have Praggnanandhaa. And Pragg has been playing spectacular chess. This has been Pragg's year, but is GCT Finals going to be clenched by Pragg or not? Well, it's very difficult to say because there are absolute three legends that he's playing against. First is Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Second, if he is able to win against Maxime, then he will face either Caruana or he's going to face Levon. So this is going to be a tough thing, but I think Pragg can do it. But I mean, still the rapid and blitz part. I mean, Maxime is an absolute beast, and this game just shows absolute that I mean, it's very difficult to beat Maxime. Very difficult. And this was I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, and as much as I hate to say it right out loud from the beginning of the video, but the thing is that this was an insane dominating performance by Maxime. So without further ado, let me show you what happened. Here d4 was played by e4 was played by Maxime, and now just comes the c6 going for the Karo Khan by Pragg, and we have d4 and d5, and now just going for e5. And here in this position, just bishop to f5 was played by Pragg. Now just comes h4, and this is definitely this is the Tal variation of the Karo Khan. He's definitely trying to play for the win, and he's definitely pushing for the win with the white pieces, because that's what you should do, because there is only two rapid games, and the point system is that if you win the game, then you get 4 points, and if you draw the game, then you get 2 points. So here just h6, and now just comes bishop to d3, asking for a trade. Bishop captures, queen captures, and just e6 in this position, just getting this very nice gate-like setup. And we have h5 immediately taking space, and this is the point of this. The thing is that here there is just too much space for the white pieces, and sometimes that can be a really huge issue. And c5 now immediately trying to counterattack towards the queen side, but just c3. And here just knight to c6, we have knight to e2, rook to c8, and just a3 was played in this position, and queen to a5, trying to create some sort of a setup towards the king, and to attack towards the queen side basically. And just castles. Here knight g to e7 was played, but just comes knight to d2. And it seems like here white has done pretty much decent. You have castled, you're yet to connect the rooks, but here the knight can jump in, and I mean, that could get very ugly, but still it's fine position up until now. And you could go for a move like c caps on d4 here, and after c captures you play knight to b4, and the thing is that you cannot capture because the rook would be hanging. So here after queen to f3, now you play knight to c2, rook moves, and your position would be absolutely fine. There is no reason to worry. But here after knight to d2, queen to a6 was played by Pragg, asking for a queen trade, but the thing is that that's not a good move in this position, and immediately Maxime went on with it. He goes for queen captures on a6. And the thing is not just that it ruins your pawn structure. The thing is that here you have traded the queens. Queen was your most active piece in this position, and once you go for it with the piece back and trades it for the less active piece, now your other pieces, it's difficult to get them out. And this is kind of a friend setup, but thing you have to understand is that queen was very active. You should not have traded it, and Pragg did it, and now he's gonna have to face the consequences. Hey, just b4 immediately by Maxime. C caps on d4, c captures, and now just comes this rook to c7. You could have also gone for a move like rook to b8 in this position. Seems like a passive move, but after rook to b1, here in this position just g6, and here after hg, knight g, you play g3, and after this the game goes on. You can just maybe develop the bishop castle, maybe just develop it here as well, and castle your position would be fine. But here after c captures we have rook to c7, and now just comes this bishop to b2, and now the rooks have been connected. Most of the pieces are developed in white's camp, but you are yet to castle. Maybe you can play a move like king to d7, but where do you get the bishop out? That's the main issue. Here knight to c8 was played, but now just comes rook a to c1, and here just going for knight to b6, and now immediately knight to f4. We have bishop to e7, and now finally going for this knight to d3, and that knight is going to be an absolute monster if it ever lands on c5. And here just castles was played by Pragg, rook to c2, and just doubling up immediately here. But now just comes rook f to c1, bishop to d8. You have to play this, otherwise I mean, whenever you move the knight, it's going to be very troublesome, because here the rook will be hanging. So here king to f1 was played, just trying to get the king into the game before everything is traded off. And if you go for a move like knight to a4 in this position, seems like a decent move, because you're targeting that bishop, and if you're able to trade the bishops, it's two knights against knight and a bishop, maybe you can survive. And even then you don't even have to trade. Knight on a4 is a great piece. Cannot believe I'm saying this, but yes, knight on a4 at the rim, where everything has been playing towards the queen side, it is a decent piece, and it is the most active piece in your camp. So you can understand that Pragg is playing, he's trying to get something in this position. You're trying to just get your pieces active, but sometimes in right from the opening, if you play such kind of opening, and if you blunder from the opening, you're gonna have to just defend all the way long, and it just gets tiring after times. It just knight to b3 would have been played, but after knight captures you play rook captures, and after a5 you have some counterplay, you have something, right? Here after b5, now you play knight to e7, rook trades, and I mean, you can understand this is passive play, but maybe you would have something here. But after king to f1, here king to f8 was played, it seems so natural to play just king to f8, just get the king here, and you want to just maybe connect, just give some protection so that your knight can move, so that other knight can move, bishop can be developed. But here in this position, just g4 immediately, not even giving a moment to breathe for Pragg, and here just a5, and now just comes b5. Just you have to move the knight to b8 was played. If you go for a move like knight to e7, it is much more better than what Pragg played, because here after rook captures, and bishop captures, here knight to c5, and you can see that that piece is strong. You cannot trade it for the time being, but maybe just something like this, and somewhere along the line with this you can just capture, and maybe you can get the knight in somehow. It's just a very annoying position to have. Here just g6, maybe just edge captures, knight captures a4. You might have something to attack, but after b5, knight to b8, I mean, this is a very passive square for the rook, for the knight here, and just rook captures, and bishop captures was played, and immediately you can see the trouble here. Either you get it here and try to ask for a trade, but then again, I mean, are you going to trade, or are you going to play a move like that? You can also get the second knight in. I mean, this is a very passive position. Here bishop to d8 was tried, but now just comes this a4, and now just going for this knight 8 to d7. We have king to e2, king to e8, and just f4 immediately. And if you look at the space the pawns and the knights are covering, I mean, it's just such a bad position to have. And it's not bad from the perspective of that your material down, it's just you don't have any room to breathe in this position, and that's the problem. And it's not like Pragg did anything wrong or he got completely outplayed. He just made one inaccuracy, and now you have to defend right from the opening. And if you don't find perfect moves, you're just going to get this position, and it's just very ugly. It's just very ugly looking, because you're not going to find good moves here, and you don't have a room to breathe. Then you're bound to make much more mistakes. And here bishop to e7 was trying to trade this, but now just comes this knight bd3, knight to c7, knight to c4, finally getting the knight active. But here just bishop to c3 was tried, and now just knight to b6, and here f5 immediately. You could go for ef, but after gf and bishop captures on c5, you get knight captures, knight to c8. Maybe you try and hope to survive this game, but it's just a long shot. But here after f5, we have bishop captures on c5, knight captures on c5, king to e7, and bishop to e1. But here just e captures, and g captures was played. But the thing is that this position is very easy to win. It knight to b2 was played, and that makes it much easier to win. And the move that you had to find in this position was king to e8, or maybe you try to do something with f6, which is just looking very bad, because here the pawn push could happen, and yeah, you're not surviving afterwards. But or you could go knight to c8, but yeah, I mean, finding all of that, good luck finding all of that with less time on your clock. So Pragg went knight to b2, but it doesn't work. Bishop caps on a5, immediately just grabbing that pawn. We have knight caps on a4 and just grabbing that one, but here just bishop to b4. We have king to e8, knight caps on a4, knight captures, and just e6 was played. But you can understand here, it looks like you can hold this, but you cannot. Here knight to b6, now just comes bishop to c5, knight to c8, king to f3. But here just going for this king, knight to b6, and you can see that Pragg is just repeating moves. All he can do is get here and here, nothing. He cannot capture here, you cannot capture this, because if you capture this, then you create a pass pawn, which is going to be incredibly strong. And then all you have to do, this white king has to just go over here, try to come inside, capture this pawn, and this becomes hanging. Then even if you're able to push it, this becomes a pass pawn, and your position is completely crumbling, and there is nothing you can do because there is a pass pawn here. That's what you have to understand. King to f4 was played, but just f6, king to e3, knight to c8, and now just going for king to d3, knight to b6, king to c3, knight to c4, and bishop caps on e7. But here just knight to d6 was tried, but now just comes b6. I mean, that pass pawn is a bit too strong. King to d8, bishop to b8, attacking the knight caps on f5 finally, but it's just a bit too late. b7, and here knight to e7 was tried, but just bishop to d6. Now you're promoting. Either you go here and try to give up the thing, but here that's exactly what was played. But you can just promote and you'll be completely winning. But here just king to d3, and now king to e8, king to e3 was played, and it was on this move, on just move 53, that Pragg resigned the game, and Maxime has taken the lead in the rapid section. This is game 1. I'll be covering the game 2 as well, but yeah, I mean, this is not a good start by Pragg, and it's not even like he made some sort of an error. He made just a little bit mistake positionally, and he got absolutely outplayed. And let's see what he's able to conjure in game 2. But till now, I mean, this was definitely not a good start by Pragg. Hopefully he bounces back in game 2. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.